Now we come to the business end of the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Marienborg. It's time for our first of four finals. And here is your starting grid for IAME Mini. Following on from the final intermediate classification after the superheats, Lewis Boots starts from pole position. Julien van der Cotelet alongside on the front row. Milan Becu, who had a technical retirement in the superheat, starts from the inside of row number 2. And will be joined by Didi Dedale. Louis Petonot and Georges Desmais round out row 3. Dorian Grandjean and Milo Cornil round out the top 4 rows. Completing the top 10, it's Joshua Lorison and Sam Sazlik. Matteo Campobello and Vin Wines round out row number 6. Bruce Chirino and Axel Linders, row 7. Maxime Van Kreen and Kian Ten Hav round out the top 16 positions on the grid. And rounding out the 10 rows of 20 strong competitors combined, Kickburgers, Leclerc, Bram Konings and Lasse van der Weide complete the grid. We now head on to the official formation lap. And up for grabs for the winner and the pride of becoming the inaugural IAME Mini Karting Champions League Winter Series champion, a ticket, a golden ticket for the IAME Warriors final taking place later on this year. And that will be in the Cartodromo Lucas Guerrero in Chiva, just outside of Valencia, later on this year. Second and third will have a guaranteed spot at the IWF 2025, which will take place between the 27th of October and the 1st of November. So for the final race of the weekend, it's 11 minutes plus an additional lap. Who will be the first driver we crown as a Winter Series champion in Karting Champions League history? The drivers make their way out of the final corner and up through towards the start-finish straight. Into the tram lines we go, revs up, lights on, lights are out, and the final is underway. And Milan Becu from third on the grid slingshots past pole sitter Lewis Boots into turn 1. 2 wide for third, 3 wide for fifth. And more to the point, Lewis Boots trying to get on the counter-offensive past Milan Becu. A couple of drivers come together coming out of turn number 3, but no harm, no foul there. In towards Chemin de Fer for the opening time. And Becu takes the tighter line. Boots tries to go towards the left-hand side to carry the momentum through the corner. And Boots is really pushing Becu quite hard at the minute as they come out of Escargot. But very shortly will have completed the opening lap. The top 2 starting to mount an early breakaway. But it's Milan Becu that leads after the first lap. Second, Lewis Boots. Third, Didi Dedale, who swipes quite quickly across the front of Dorian Grandjean in the 817. Georges Desmais now up to 5th. Julien van der Cotelet in 6th. Milo Cornil in 7th. And there's a move by van der Cotelet to get up another position. That's P5 from the youngster from the Netherlands. And they go through turn 4, the 90 left. It's a very deceptive, fast right-hander that leads them into Chemin de Fer. Pretty much a bit of a double right, but the second phase of it is more of a slight kink heading into the braking zone. It's next to nothing between Becu and Boots. Becu had to fight for the win in Heat 2 yesterday. He started the second set of heats, and once again, Becu's having to do the same. But it's early in this race. We've just completed over 2 minutes. Lewis Boots looks to the inside here at turn 1 and goes wheel to wheel for the briefest of moments on Milan Becu, sets the new fastest lap and now takes the race lead. drivers now onto lap number 3. Didier Dedalle now down into 4th position. Dorian Grosjean down into 6th place. Bruce Chirino and Axel Lindner is making steady progress. They now round out 9th and 10th in the running order. Bram Konings has moved up from 19th on the grid and is currently running P12. Milan Beku now swarming all over the back of the 830 Falcon Racing kart of Louis Boots for the race lead as they head through out of Chemin de Fer and into the Escargot section. And Gillian van der Cotelet for the Hansa Racing team in 3rd place sets a purple sector in the 1st sector. Timing being broken just on the exit of Escargot, and now we'll start to hunt down the 2 in front. The gap last time around was the best part of 1.3 seconds. Lap 3 in the books. Boots now leads. Beku 2nd. Van der Cotelet is about 1.2 seconds adrift and sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 2.424 by the 832 from the Netherlands. And now Van der Cotelet becomes the cork in the bottle. Being handed by Dedalle and Desmet, Grosjean and Cornille. Very much in the thick of the action. The top 7 drivers covered by just a shade over 1.9 seconds after the opening 3 laps. Matteo Campobello now makes his way in the 855 for PJM up to round out the top 10 behind the Netherlands. Bruce Chirino in the 875, who's moved up 4 spots. Bram Konings is the biggest mover so far, up 5 spots from 19th to now 14th, was as high as P12 just a few moments ago. But a lot of slipstreaming and conserving tyres and maybe a little bit of fuel. Right, 855 has just been pinged with a 3-second penalty for braking formation with 2 wheels out of the tram lines. As Desmet looks for a move on Dedalle, does not get through, and then trying to go around the outside is Dorian Grosjean into turn 5. Joshua Lauritsen has tumbled all the way down to 19th position ahead of Bram Konings. So it looks like the 2 might have had a slight coming together, and it dropped them unceremoniously towards the back end of the field. But in the meantime, Gillian van der Cotelet has got Didier Dedalle for nearly close company. 2 kart lengths between the pair as they head through the final right-hander. So we are approaching half-time in this race. As Dedalle goes a little bit defensive, I believe, as Desmet has got through. Desmet is ahead of Grosjean, and between Desmet and Dedalle it's about 9/10 of a second. The leader's still lying astern. It's not gone higher than 1/10 of a second between Louis Boots and Milan Beku over the 5 laps that have transpired so far. Nevertheless, an entertaining battle at the front end. And of course, along with the prestigious title of becoming the inaugural Winter Series champion for Karting Champions League here in Marienburg in 2025, one of these drivers will take the gold ticket. The other one will get a guaranteed spot at the IAME Warrior Finals in late October, early November at Cartodromo Lucas Guerrero in Valencia. And things have stabilised between Boots and Beku for the meantime, as well as Van der Cotelet in 3rd and Dedalle in 4th. Dedalle, new fastest lap without setting a purple sector in either the first or the second one. Puts in 2 personal bests and puts in a 1 minute 2.112. Quicker than that is Milan Beku. Oh no, slower. The next quickest driver is Milan Beku. Then it's Louis Boots, the race leader. Then looks to be Gillian van der Cotelet and Georges Desmet. Cornille, who was excluded after qualifying, has made a good resurgence over the course of the weekend and now runs 7th. And, well, Bram Konings has just been handed a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. And that's going to add a little bit of insult to injury because the driver is currently 20th and last at the moment. And once again, the gap between Boots and Beku is minuscule at best. Another word that I could probably use to describe that would be non-existent. But it has been a really, really intense battle, and the anticipation is building. Once we get on to maybe 2 laps to go, that's when the fireworks might start. But at the minute, it is a case of Beku is keeping Boots wondering as to when Beku will play his hand. 63 seconds was the gap between first and second after 7 laps. Add another 2 thousandths to that and you've got lap 8 in the books. Van der Kottelet now starting to pick up the pace. Beku has done the fastest overall second sector of anybody, but Julian Van der Kottelet went purple in sector 1 on lap 8 and then took the fastest lap of the race, so 1 minute 2.027. The Dalit second quickest overall, ahead of Boots and Beku. But not more than a 1/10 of a second in terms of pure outright lap pace separates the top 4. Into the final right-hander we go again. And Beku effectively is kind of NASCAR bump drafting behind Boots, but Beku shows his nose to the left-hand side of the Falken Racing driver and dives to the inside on the beginning of lap number 10. Beku decided that was his chance to pull the trigger, and he went for it and got the race lead. But in this kind of situation, a longer time on the clock means your strategy's got to be very, very different. Lewis Boots looks up the inside at turn 4, retakes the lead. A great, intense battle. Next time around, we should be starting our penultimate lap of the race. And Beku later on the brakes through the exit of Escargot into the final triple right here at Marienborg, 1,366 metres in total, done in a clockwise direction. So lap 10 set to be completed, and on to the 11th and penultimate lap of the final for IAME Mini. Gap now between Boots and Beku goes over a 1/10. It goes over 2 tenths for the first time in a very long time. And still the battle for the final step on the rostrum is between Van der Kottelet, who's just had Didi Didale dive up the inside through at turn 3. And here goes George Desmayer looking for the inside run into turn 4. Is he going to make it through? They were nearly wheel to wheel, but Van der Kottelet holds on. So the timer now expires, and 12 laps is the distance. And Milan Beku starting to push and go for it. Just over 1.4 kilometres remains, and Milan Beku dives up the inside through the final right-hander on Lewis Boots. 1.366 kilometres remains. Beku goes defensive, Boots switch to the outside, tries to turn in, Beku defends, they make a bit of a clash. Right front to left rear, Beku goes defensive into turn 2 for the final time. Boots trying to get the overcut. He dives to the outside, through at turn number 3, still keeping the throttle pinned in. Beku looks left, doesn't see him there, looks to the right, sees him there to the outside, and Beku still holds his line through turn 4 in towards Chemin de Fer for the final time this weekend. A little bit of a rub of bumpers between the pair, and Boots is back through again. Beku trying to go right, goes left, and in towards Escargot, retakes the race lead. incredible composure from these two young drivers. It's going to be a run to the line. Beku goes to the inside, Boots to the outside into the final right-hander. Now the over-under, now the switchback. And Boots and Beku going sidewall to sidewall. But Beku on the road will take the victory. Don't celebrate too early. Beku wins it by 46 thousandths. Milan Beku, heartbreak in the superheats. And by probably from the front of the bumper to the front axle, Eichmann's Grand Prix and Milan Beku take the win by 46 thousandths. And what a battle between Milan Beku and Lewis Boots. There was a little bit of rubbing between the pair on the final lap, but that was completely understandable. Beku now realizes, it sinks in. He started celebrating just before they crossed the stripe, but Boots, if he'd had another 100 meters, would have won it. Milan Beku provisionally becomes your inaugural IAME Mini Karting Champions League Winter Series champion, and thereby books his place at the IAME Warriors Final 2025 with a golden ticket. Lewis Boots and Julian van der Kottelet provisionally round up your top three, both taking a guaranteed spot at IWF 2025. Dorian Grandjean, Milo Cornil, Louis Peternot, Vin Wines, Sam Saslik, Bruce Chirino and Matteo Campobello round out the top 10. Axel Linders, Kik Perkers, Maxime Van Kreen, Joshua Lawrenson, Lasse van der Weide, and there we see Dire de Dali's kart unfortunately stricken by the side. Looks like there was an incident on lap number 12 between Dedali and Desmay. They unfortunately retire on the final lap. Lukle, Kian Tenhav and Blam Connings round out the 18 finishers. Up next, it's the Karting Champions League IAME X30 Junior Final for the Winter Series for 2025.